Click the links for Odysee, Bit Chute, to join channel, support channel on Coffee, or the various other subscribers to our crypto, the various other links. The short version of this is the headline: Were Capitol Police responsible for Officer Sitnik's death? With a rapidly changing narrative, two witnesses come forward and say that they saw that this guy had symptoms of a stroke. Now, you have somebody who's got cognitive issues, cognitive impairment. They're not tracking you. They're otherwise, healthy 40 to 50-year-old guy. Either it's an external injury or it's an internal injury. It doesn't matter. You'd still get them to an ER immediately. It wouldn't wait for depending how close a ambulance is, and like a situation like J6, like there should have been ambulances already posted up outside ready for people. So it appears that the Capitol Police themselves didn't get him treatment for his stroke. He was confused. So okay, that means he was either hit in the head, which is an external injury, so you get him to an ER immediately. Either he's confused and it's an internal. It could be anything from heavy metal poisoning to drug poisoning to a stroke. So you get him to an ER immediately. You don't offer him a bottle of water. He seems confused. He's a healthy 40-year-old. Get him to the ER. Capitol Police didn't do that, which is very, very weird. Because at one time, fellow police, it doesn't matter the agency, you would move heaven and earth to help your fellow officer in need, because the old adage is they know that nobody is going to take care of them but them. It would be inconceivable to me that they wouldn't just put him in a car and take him to the ER immediately. But they didn't, and he died of a stroke. And first the narrative was, oh, he was attacked with a fire extinguisher. And then the witnesses all come forward and say, no, that never happened. In fact, there's a lot of camera footage going around showed it didn't happen. He had 2 strokes. The second one finished him off, but it was 7 hours, and the other Capitol Police didn't get their fellow officer help. That's very, very strange. So let's go to the witness testimony. Witnesses who say they suspected he had a stroke, and they communicated that to other people, but really they didn't need to communicate that to anyone. As soon as you see someone, your fellow officer is having problems tracking you, something is wrong. Here's a bottle of water. Are you okay, buddy? Walk it off. No, either he suffered a head injury or he's suffering some sort of injury. Why wouldn't you get him to an ER? Very, very strange. So this first witness says he saw Sitnik face to face. He realized he was suffering some sort of medical episode. I guessed it was a stroke since he appeared confused, disoriented, physically unstable, no evidence of any injury. So, could have been hit in the head, or it could have been a stroke, or it could have been heavy metal poisoning, it could have been drug poisoning. It doesn't fucking matter. Why wouldn't you take anyone to an ER? But they didn't. So he told the other officers he needed medical attention, repeated this as the other officers took Officer Sitnik from us. Later on, I communicated to other protesters that he had a stroke. Subsequent days, I heard news reports he had been beaten with a fire extinguisher. This story was false. I heard he had died. It saddened me, especially in light of the false stories that had been going around. And it came out that indeed he had died of a stroke, possibly even 2 of them. I wonder if the officers to whom we handed Sitnik off to actually followed through with providing him medical treatment according to the FAST protocol, but I did not witness their actions after I handed him off. That's the first witness. The second witness says essentially the same thing, where he says that the other officers asked Sitnik, "Are you okay, brother?" because he was dazed and disoriented. And so this second witness says, having been an EMT in the military, I instantly knew something wasn't right. He could barely hold his head up, and all the officer did was offer him some water. That is freaking bizarre. I looked at one of the cops and I said, "I've got medical training. Let me take a look at him. Let me check him out. He does not look good. Someone needs to check on him." I was told medical was on the way. Again, I said, you got to get him help right now. He's looking worse. And with strokes, there's treatment for strokes, but it's timely. You have to get them to the ER immediately and get that stroke medication in your blood system immediately. So close to 20 minutes passed as they were more focused on rounding up protesters, even homeless people in the area, herding them on the buses like cattle. So here's the thing. I don't know if I can say this on YouTube. With not hiring people based on merit, when you have like a checklist when you have a hiring checklist and you're not hiring them on merit, It means you're not getting the best people. And in something like first responders, EMT, police, fire, military, you want the best people. You don't want people who are hired just because of a checklist. Because they don't have the same in-group preference to care for each other that they would have cared for each other like 30 years ago. What you're seeing happen to America now is you're seeing the disintegration of what was America. There's no diversity is strength. That's not the way of the world. That's just not how the world works. Anyway, so you have two witnesses come forward who say the Capitol Police may have been negligent, reckless, or intentional in causing or being the proximate causation of Officer Sitnick's suffering for 7 hours before they got him treatment. Freaking bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. But take a look at the Epstein case. Look at the two guards who were guarding Epstein, who were no charges filed, charges dropped against the guards for Epstein. They were most likely paid off to look at the computers to go surf the internet for new motorcycles when somebody came into prison and took care of Epstein. So they turned off the cameras and they just went surfing the internet. It's like, it's none of my business, not my job description. It's like, yeah, that's a third world America. It's the nation you got now. So, anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all next episode.